Making a cutting board or a charcuterie board sounds simple, but if you're a beginner woodworker, it's one of the best skill building projects you can do in a weekend. You can practice milling lumber, assembling your board, cutting complex curves, adding inlay, or anything else that your imagination can dream up. With Christmas right around the corner, this is a great build to knock out in a weekend, learn some new skills, and impress your guests. For this charcuterie board, I'm going to be combining some walnut and maple with a bit of a curved inlay. But first, let's take this thick piece of walnut and cut it down to a much more reasonable 1.25 inches. Okay, now we've got the board down to a more reasonable thickness for something like a charcuterie board. If you don't have a planer, it's okay. You can find boards of just about any thickness at your local hardwood dealer or online. That said, the board can be any thickness you want. It's really just down to your personal preference. Next, I'm going to take this board over to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut some gentle curves down the middle of the board. This is where the maple inlay is going to sit. If you don't have a bandsaw, you can use a jigsaw to make the same curved cut. Just go slow, let the blade do the work. It's a bit of a trope that you can never have too many clamps as a woodworker, but in this specific case, it's absolutely true. The amount of force that the maple is going to be exerting on the walnut here is pretty considerable. If you don't have enough clamps, it's going to either split apart while you're gluing it, or you won't get good contact and it'll split later. Okay, now that we have the board all glued up, it's time to flatten it back out and do a little bit of shaping. This is feeling pretty good, but now I need to decide what kind of shape I want this board to have. I know that I want a hole or a recess for like a little ramekin or a dish, maybe a handle, and a lot of rounded edges. So let's get started. I was feeling too lazy to swap out the resaw blade on my bandsaw for something a bit smaller and better for cutting curves. I'm paying for that now in sanding time. I really miss my old spindle sander. I'm done hand sanding all around the handle and it's looking a lot better, but it's not even all the way across each edge. So I'm going to head over to the router table and use a flush trim bit with the bearing just at the top of the board to clean things up. That did a really good job of cleaning up all the rough marks from my hand sanding earlier. I can't say that this handle shape is entirely intentional, but I kind of dig it. Next, I want to add some curves to these 90-degree corners and add a round over to all the edges. So I've been looking at the proportions of this board and I think I'm gonna skip my plan of adding a hole or a recess for like a little serving dish. It just feels like it would overpower the board at this point, and you have to not be afraid to let the project tell you what it wants to be. When you're choosing the finish for a cutting board or a charcuterie board, the type of finish you choose really matters. I'm using Rubio Monocoat Oil Plus 2C, which is certified to be food safe after it fully cures, which takes about a week. And there you have it. After all the cutting, gluing, routing, sanding, and finishing, we have our finished charcuterie board. perfect for your holiday hosting or as a weekend skill builder. If you enjoyed this build, you can check out more of my woodworking projects right over there. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.